again. Alfred here at Wakati Avenue. Welcome back. Lovely day, lovely morning once again. Today's topic will be on being 1% better. 1% better. What do I mean by being 1% better? Being 1% better basically means improving on yourself, improving your situation, or improving the skills that you want to hone, probably every single day or in a consistent basis, just little, building up on that little by little. For example, you may want to learn how to, let's say, do push-ups. I'll give this example because there was me. I used to be unable to do more than 5 push-ups, let's say. But now I can do like straight 15 to 20 push-ups, right? But what I did was, when I started training and exercising, I would just do 2 push-ups maybe, and then try and build on that the next day, even if I wasn't able to do it. Right? So I would build that up in a consistent basis. Each time I try and each time I train, each time I exercise, I'd build on that, right? I'd do like 1 or 2 push-ups, then the next day probably do 3, or just try and do add up on another push-up, right? So at the end of the day, you find that you've done so much that it accumulates, and then it adds up on that, right? So you're capable of now doing more than you did. So that's just an analogy. There's on that, but actually the 1% can go in all of your in any of your plans or your goals that you want to achieve. For instance, if you want to exercise as a whole, let's just say exercise. I'm going to move away from the push-ups. Just exercise as a whole. Just be someone who wants to be someone who wants to start exercising in a frequent basis, right? You don't have to start. In fact, it's imperative you do not start in a vigorous way. Always do it slowly, daily, or just in a consistent basis by by just starting with the basis, right? When I started exercising, for instance, I started by really walking and skipping. I bought myself a skipping rope, right? And I was skipping. I started skipping. I couldn't even skip more than like 20 times. Then each day I increased my skipping abilities, right? And now I can skip up to 20 minutes, maybe 100 skips or something like that. Jump rope, jumping, skipping. I skip more, right? And that's because I would do it. Then obviously sometimes something comes up and you're unable to do it, but then you carry on from where you had stopped. So being 1% better is way better than doing nothing at all, because a lot of people would rather just sit there and lay there and not even try. Being 1% better, of course, means that you have to be consistent, but then at the same time means at least you're trying, right? You don't have to do it every day. It's just really up to you and your goals, where you are headed, where you want to go. For instance, if you want to learn, let's say, the piano, right? You want to learn the piano. If you're going to do it, let's say, once a week, right? You download an app on your phone or your tablet or your computer, and then you could You could practice the piano. There's so many resources from YouTube. There's just too many people teaching people how to play the piano. You can just learn the basics, right? From there, just set aside. Start out with the 30 minutes of practice, right? 30 minutes of practice each week. Just 30 minutes, right? Each week. Take maybe a Wednesday. Take a Wednesday and say 30 minutes. I'm just gonna be playing around with this app. Or if you decide to buy a piano, or maybe a piano, an electric piano, right? Not many can afford an actual piano, but you can buy yourself and those electric pianos, those digital pianos, right? And you say, listen, I'm going to practice just 30 minutes a day. Then just practice, right? Each week. You keep that in a consistent basis. Now, just imagine by the end of the year, right, how much of the knowledge you could have accumulated by then. There's plenty, because you are far ahead of those who have not even started. There are those who are saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Then there are those who maybe gave up on the way, who you're going to catch up on and then surpass them. The key here is to be consistent, to do it in a structured, with a goal in mind, right? Placing goals that, okay, why am I learning this piano thing? Okay, how do I want to play it, and how does it relate to my goals? Once you have that intact, then at least you can now have a more strong reason to try and do it in a consistent basis. So 1% better if you spread that out, and eventually, if it's something that you grow to love, then definitely what will happen, you're going to increase the time you put on it, because whatever you put time on, it's going to increase, obviously, and it's going to fulfill you, right? And because that you are moving towards your goal, so you're going to move from 30 minutes maybe to an hour, then from an hour each week, probably you're going to do it now 1 hour, 2 hours per week, like maybe each day, maybe you choose a day or two, maybe Wednesday and Fridays, you're going to increase on that. And then what will happen is that what you're going to be doing is it's going to be now it's going to be natural to you. What's going to happen is it's really going to be something that comes easily. Of course, you've worked hard on it, obviously, but then as you proceed and you learn about it, you learn more about it, and you process it in you, in your brain, in your mind, you install it in your mind, then it becomes easier and easier, because now it's a part of you, it's part of your daily activities, because now it's bringing something tangible, whether it brings you money or whatever, whether it brings you closer to your goals, it's doing something to you and for you. So basically, 1% better each and every day. You do what you love or you think you love. It's tough. I usually tell people these things are really tough, especially for us who are in these parts of the world, what they call the third world, or this in Africa, because we really we don't have those resources that they don't come at ease. We don't have the abundant resources, so we have to improvise, and we have to try and work really hard. We work harder than our counterparts maybe from the West, and it's not just a curse, but it's also a blessing, because once you are able to go through that, everything else becomes easy. That's why I applaud a lot of people who start out their journey, especially here in Africa. I applaud those who, with the most minimum of resources. Someone starts with just a phone. Someone starts out in a dingy apartment, down in the ghetto, but he has that dream, and probably because he probably got a beat down laptop that hardly functions, but he is able to teach himself how to create beats, right? Produce, probably put vocals together. I really applaud these people because they're using very, very a little amount of resources, and they're able to figure out their life plans, their life dreams, and their purpose. And this is the mentality we should take for most of us, especially this part of the world in Africa. You always have something in you that you want to express, or a skill that you want to learn. You can always do it. And being 1%, just doing little by little, each and every day, or designated time, where you can do it even once a week, just 1 hour, 3 minutes a day. That will accumulate. Just spread it out as the whole year. Just imagine if you're that consistent in something and you're doing it each and every day. That's 365 days, so it's 365% better. Now just imagine that, how good you'll be, and how better of a person or a skill that you are learning you'll have. But I would suggest you spread it out. Is just do it maybe once, twice a week, or an hour, then accumulate from that. And there's still 1%, but it's at least spread out, and it's cut out to be easier. You're not doing something, you're not being overwhelmed. Make sure you're not overwhelmed by certain things, because you want to get somewhere so fast that it's almost impossible to do it at that short amount of time. Spread it out. Make it a year, a whole year plan, 2-year plan. It doesn't matter. It's really up to you. You can even make it a 2-year, even a 5-year. People have 5-year plans, like where they want to be. And that's the best thing, because you know how you're going to be spending your time and your energy within that 5 years. But 1% better each and every time, each and every day, each and every designated time that you put out there, it's going to accumulate, and it's going to give you dividend at the end of the time. So when Father Time comes and asks you, hey, what you been doing with your time, you say, man, I did this and this, and he ticks you off. He ticks you off that okay, you've been productive, you've been constructive with your time. Now you can get this sort of ability. Yeah, that's been it for today. Thank you for joining, and this has been Alfred once again for Wakati Avenue. Till next time, cheers.